Okay, let's get into chapter 9, leftovers. It's a short chapter. You've got it. I'll walk through it a little bit here. But what are the leftovers? You've got the list. They're dwarf planets. That includes Pluto. Asteroids, comets, meteoroids, but we're going to have meteoroid, meteor, meteorite. So we've got to sort that out. A few things. I've given you, of course, my YouTube channel and some sites, some links to look at. The video of National Geographic, Traveler's Guide to Planets, it's all there. So take a look at that. A little talk about streakers. We're finally back to streakers, those streaks in the sky, bad luck. We'll talk about that kind of stuff. So we'll get into it, crunch time and so on. Here in the chapter, you get to press a button and vote whether to keep Pluto a planet or to kick it out of the planet club, down to demote it to the dwarf planet. My personal feeling is that, sorry, I don't think it should be a planet. But you know, that's an opinion. It's really a judgment call. So why did it get kicked out? Let's take a look here. Let's take a look. And if I look, and you can look through in the book better and see it more clearly, but I put this list of history, right? So until 1930, people didn't even know Pluto existed. Why? Because it's way out there and it's small. You know how big. Okay. So, and the Greek mythology is, again, fun and interesting, but the Greek mythology happened a long time ago and they found it and they thought, well, to be consistent, let's just throw in that Greek mythology, the barrier to the underworld, and you can talk about that, that's fun. But in 1801, there was detected something closer, Sirius. And that's in the asteroid belt, and it's pretty big too. And then you go, well, if that's kind of like Pluto-sized, if Pluto's a planet, then isn't Sirius? I mean, it's going around the sun too. And then you've got 1930, Clyde Tombaugh, and I'll give you a tip on a good video to watch, among others. But and then in 1950, the Kuiper Belt, you know, my some other, actually, just sent us 9 pizzas and cokes, Pluto and the comets, Kuiper Belt and Oort cloud. So it was thought, it wasn't until 1950 that it was thought maybe there's a whole bunch of stuff out there. But it was confirmed, you see here, in 1992. Not that long ago, for some of us. And so it's just so far out there. And I'm going to talk a little bit about some other stuff. I'm going to say in 78, Pluto's largest moon was discovered, 1978. So, oh, it's got a moon. Oh, it must be a planet. 2003, Haumea, about Pluto-sized in the Kuiper Belt. So are these all planets? Do we make them all planets? What are they? What's their composition? So 2005, right? We got more moons. 2005 Eris. What are you going to do? You start going, well, we got all these things. Do we include them in the club? Because we're including Pluto. It's not really fair to not include them. It's kind of like having a drawer of socks, right? Some drawer, and you got your socks in there. But you start having too many socks, right? And you go, I need another drawer for my socks. And what are you going to do? Just randomly put them over there? No, you're going to go, okay, these are my kind of gym workout socks and whatever. Or you can do it by color, but you classify. This is this kind of sock drawer. This is my dress sock drawer. Whatever it is. However you choose to break it. And it doesn't matter. I could do it differently than you do it. I might do it by color. I might do it by whatever. And that's really all this is. It's still out there. But we take this subclass and we say, hey, let's call these things dwarf planets. And I think there's good reason to. So you got to have a reason, though, to kick someone out of your club. And I gave you the things that were decided upon by the International Astronomical Union. They said, okay, to be a planet, you got to satisfy 3 things. One thing is that you've got to basically orbit Sun as your primary orbit. You can't orbit another planet. So you got to orbit Sun. Pluto, that's good with Pluto. you've also got to be big enough that you pulled into basically a spherical shape. You can't be one of those potatoes. Pluto does that. Pluto does that. And the planet has to have its room clean. You got to put your socks in your drawer. In other words, it's got to sweep up the path. The path can't have any major things along its orbital path. And that's the rule they made up to kick Pluto out. Pluto fails that, and you can get into it. Anyway, that's kind of fun. People like to talk about it. It's fun that people kick it around, but I don't take it that too seriously. A lot of things called dwarf planets. Pluto and the Dwarf Planets, that's the name of my band, if I ever make one. And I give you some information here about Pluto and, 1/5 the diameter of Earth, so smaller than Moon, etc. But just to give you a sense of these things, and we talk about Pluto. So now the New Horizons missions. So this is kind of fun, and then I talk about myth. So people often use the word myth as being a false statement, but a myth is actually a story which reflects either your literal or a story of your perception of a people's perception of their place in existence. I'll say maybe you don't even have a concept of universe or whatever, gods, etc. That's sort of mythology. So anyway, I talk a little bit about that and the problem with taking myths literally and things. But that's it. Let's talk about Pluto. I'm going to show you some pictures over here, and then we'll I'll give you a tip on Pluto. There it is. Pluto. Pluto. So I really encourage you to do an internet search, look for some pictures. Here's some quick pictures. Again, discovered in 1930, quite a bit later. So PL, Pluto, and you can do the Greek mythology. 1978, discovered this world here that's pretty big. That moon, that first moon. I guess I should say what it is now. It's spelled Charn, Charon. And some people say Sharon, some people say Karen, and some people say, well, I think the Greek might be closer to Charon or Gagron or something in the Greek. So, make your choice. Karen's kind of how people often say it, but I read one place where they said that Karen would be closer to the Greek or the correct pronunciation, but the moon is called Charon. Well, it's called Charon by some people. Whatever, Charon. There it is, and it's small. But we did. What's it made of? Well, maybe a little iron, nickel, some rock. Still exploring. This is kind of an old picture, so we know more now. How do we know more? Well, we went there. We're going to talk about that. Water, ice. A lot of water, ice. Take a look at that picture. That was the best picture we had. That was like, wow, we can start to see some features. There's these light and dark areas. Until we fly by. And when we flew by, not that long ago, we got to see details. So I encourage you to, just do a little bit about Pluto. Learn a little bit about it. It's kind of fun. So, these are important dates for Pluto, my list at least, I'm sure others too. Discovered, and then first moon, discovered, Charon. I'm personally not going to ask you that, but Charon is common. Charon, maybe closer, Sharon. 95. The first blotchy pictures, you just saw it. Blotchy pic, Hubble Space Telescope, finding this stuff. Oh, wait. There's not one moon, plus 2 more moons. Then I was writing the first book, and the second one, now second edition, we'll get to have this, but discovered this, plus 2 more moons. And then, for the first time, leaving Earth in 2006, traveling 36,000 miles an hour, a little more, for about 9 years, and flying by, taking great pictures, and I think that's very important, along with good data that we still analyze. People want to go back and they want to go into orbit and study this world of rock and ice and water ice. In fact, comets are in that region of water ice. And so we'd like to study it more. And I think now we're thinking maybe 75% rock and 25% ices, but check it out. And here's something that I would encourage you to consider looking at. And I think it's a fun video that you can see on YouTube. I'll bring you over to it. There's a bunch, and this one's fun. It's great, but it doesn't. It's before we had gone by and then analyzed the data, because we continue to analyze the data. But it's called the Year of Pluto. I'd go to NASA. After all, NASA did the work, so go to their site, and you can depend on stuff like that. It's only 58 minutes, but it's a pretty neat in terms of exploring our existence in space and time. This is a fun little part of it, right? And you get to know this picture. So now we're going to go to asteroids, meteoroids, and comets. We'll walk through that next in the next video.